Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the NBA Front Office YouTube channel. It is almost off-season time. In fact, by the time you're watching this, since we are a mere moments away from Game 6, it could officially be the NBA offseason if the Bucks do indeed win the NBA championship tonight. But that means that there's a lot going on and a lot of exciting things that are going to be happening, like potentially Damian Lillard being on the move. Now we have some teams that are going after him. Keith, how are you doing, man? Hopefully vacation is treating you well, and glad that you've got the time to check in from the road here.
Yeah, we're doing good, man. We're having a great time up here in New England. We're headed out of Massachusetts for parts unknown in Vermont tomorrow, undisclosed location with one of my best friends in the world who I have not seen in person in far too long. So I'm super excited about that. And yeah, I'm super excited that I love the finals, don't get me wrong. And I kind of hope the Suns force a game seven just so we get one more. And who
Right.
doesn't love a game seven? But it is yeah, I mean, we're right there for the offseason. We're almost like a week out from the draft now, week and a half ish from the draft. So yeah, stuff's finally starting to happen. And this real GM stuff came from Kevin O'Connor, or
Mhm.
not real GM, I'm sorry. It's we pulled it off real GM, but it came from Kevin O'Connor of the Ringer, Damian Lillard. Heat, Kings, Knicks, Rockets, 76ers, most aggressive. So let's talk a little bit about each one of those teams and what it might look like for them. Does that sound good?
Yeah, two of those things are not like the others. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
there's
Yes.
some head scratchers in there as far as why some of these teams are pursuing Damian Lillard. But let's dive into it. I guess like the Miami Heat, they're pretty much in the mix for like every superstar free agent. They try to at least get their name in the conversation anyway. I don't know if they've got the assets or not to really get that done. But I mean, but I'm not surprised at all for their name to be there. It makes sense. Pat Riley pushes for these kinds of guys and these kind of moves. I don't know if they actually get it done. I'm not shocked to see them there. The Kings, the Rockets, what are you doing? Why are these guys? They're like, I look, Damian Lillard's a great player. He's locked up for 4 years. I understand. But do you really think if Damian Lillard is leaving the Portland Trailblazers to go somewhere where he ideally can win an NBA championship, he's going to be excited going to the Kings or the Rockets given their current state? I can't imagine he'd be thrilled with that outcome.
Yeah, the Kings one is especially confusing too because they already have De'Aaron Fox and
Mhm.
Tyrese Halliburton. Now, Damian Lillard's a better player than both of those guys, but Fox is about to start a new 5 year contract extension. Halliburton's still on his rookie scale deal, so you're not gaining anything as far as Lillard signed long term. And then you're going to be in this weird position where it's like, we're giving up, two guys here. We're not giving up, but probably one of them has to go in the trade would be my guess. Because
Yeah,
what are you
for
going to do with
sure.
all three of those guys? That starts to get really weird. So yeah, the Kings one I don't fully grasp and understand unless there's something bigger coming where it's
Right.
like we're going to add
Yes.
Damian Lillard, then we're going to do another trade where we add this player and in another trade, and they start to piece it together that way. Then maybe that could make a little bit of sense.
Yeah, and that's about it. That like if it is the roster as it is with a few other pieces gone, whatever you have to trade in order to get Lillard, say it's De'Aaron Fox and something or whatever. I just can't imagine you're getting a very happy Damian Lillard in that scenario.
No. Yeah.
He would not be thrilled with that situation. And then the Houston Rockets, they're clearly in
Yeah, I
a
don't get that one.
rebuild, and so far not a great one. I did not like the return they got for James Harden at all, particularly when they said, "No thanks, no, we don't want Jared Allen in this, and no, we're going to pass on Karis LeVert, although ultimately it may have saved his life." But
Yeah,
still,
absolutely. Yeah.
I don't think the Rockets are in a position to be the team that's going to get Lillard and then suddenly make a flurry of moves that pushes them right back towards being a contender and suddenly Lillard is happy there. I don't see that being a good outcome for Lillard.
Yeah, I think, Lillard, Christian Wood, Kevin Porter Jr., Eric Gordon. I mean, they still have John
That's not
Wall on
enough.
that team. That gets all goofy. That probably gets you in the mix for the playoffs.
Maybe.
I think
Yeah.
that probably puts you in the end of the playoffs. Kind of like we talked a little bit about Kyle Lowry with the Pelicans. That's
Hmm.
that's probably where you're at. You're probably then about equal to Portland, right? So you're
Yeah.
6 to 10 range there. So play in playoffs, kind of in that range. So yeah, that part starts to get a little weird to me too because it just seems like, hey, we're gonna blow up this rebuild that we're only a year into, and we're gonna truly try to push all in and go. And again, are you getting Portland to take back John Wall? If you're not, what are we doing here with roster construction? It starts to just get a little too weird for me, and I don't understand them now. The Knicks. 100% get that
Yep.
one, right? The Knicks are, they could almost do that. Well, if they do it in the offseason when they can use cap space, they're there, right? They've got everything that they need to make that happen. If it is the Knicks when they hold off a little bit, well then, all right, they're going to hold off a little bit, and then that's well, what else could they do with their stuff and those kind of things? But yeah, I get it why the Knicks would do this, because that gives them the true superstar that they need, and almost Damian Lillard alone in the East vaults them into staying right around where they're at, right? With even if it's just Lillard with Julius Randle and fill out the roster the rest of the way, because I would imagine it's going to cost them RJ Barrett. I can't see how they would do it without Barrett being kind of the headline piece in the deal.
Yeah, you've got some interesting pieces that you can throw in. First of all, you've got cap space, which is really nice because then you don't have to worry about trying to match salaries, which Damian Lillard matching that big contract is certainly not an easy exercise. So you can get there with just a few pieces in there, and you can actually offer some savings to the Portland Trail Blazers in that way. Now, how much the Blazers value that, we can certainly debate on that. But with the Knicks, the number 4 seed this last season, they can look at things and say, you know what, we are a Damian Lillard away from being a really real threat. And you can give up on RJ Barrett or Obi Toppin or something like that. They've got some pieces. They've got a couple of picks this year in the draft, albeit not low picks or anything like that. Not picks that have a ton of value, but they've got a few picks that they can throw into the mix as well. So the Knicks make a lot of sense to me as far as why they're looking to make this move right now, because they can talk themselves into being a Damian Lillard away. But I think the really intriguing one, the team that could go from being a really good team to being, oh man, this is one of the best teams in the conference. This could be the team to go to the finals, is if Damian Lillard, you're able to execute some sort of a Ben Simmons for Damian Lillard swap and then get him onto the 76ers to combine with Joel Embiid.
Yeah, because in the East, that's 2 top tier guys, on the same team. And the biggest thing that team is missing is someone who can create off the dribble and create offense late in games, late in quarters, late in shot clock. And that's what Damian Lillard gives them. You would have arguably I don't even think arguably, I'm just going to say the best inside outside combo in the league.
Mm-hmm.
I can't think of a better one in that point, with Embiid and Lillard. Yeah, it would probably have to be headlined by Simmons. And if you're Portland, you could start to really think, all right, we're going to bring back CJ McCollum. We're going to talk about Norman Powell here in a minute. But we'll re-sign Norman Powell. We'll have Simmons. We'll have Robert Covington. We'll probably have Nurkic. All of a sudden, that starts to be, all right, that's not too bad. And then, picks and whatever else they get. I would probably imagine they're going to be chasing, Matisse Thybulle, bring him back to the Pacific Northwest, where he played at Washington. I would probably ask for Tyrese Maxey and see, hey, can we make something happen there? And you got to wonder, right? Daryl Morey always says it's about being in position when a star hits the market to make that run and be aggressive. So that's there. And we kind of ran right past them at the beginning because we jumped into the Kings and Rockets being kind of silly here. But Miami, right? Miami, as you said, Pat Riley's always going to be in the market when there's a star. They can do some stuff because of their cap flexibility. That makes it a little bit more interesting. Right. They would still probably have to structure it as some kind of trade, using some probably cap and then some other stuff. But if they got that and they maintained, let's just say it was Lillard, Butler, and Adebayo, were kind of that's the core of your roster, and then you got to flesh it out. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Now, outside of Bam, Butler and Lillard, a little bit on the old side. So that part starts to get a little bit tricky there. So you're not going to have this super long window. But for the next 2-3 years, much like Philadelphia, you'd be right there in the mix with Brooklyn at the top of the conference. And, I don't want to, give short shrift here to Milwaukee either.
That's right. Yeah. Look, Milwaukee could be moments away really from winning an NBA championship. So we have to make sure that we include them in the mix there.
Probably pretty good.
Is there anybody that you're surprised is not on this list? Like, is there a team that you think, man, Lillard should go here? why are they not in this group of teams that are aggressively pushing to get it? And by the way, it also mentions, according to Kevin O'Connor, that Lillard expects to be a Blazer this next year. So this is not done. This is
Yeah.
not, hey, this is the group and
Yeah.
that's it. Things can evolve as these discussions, continue.
Yeah, and we're going to continue to probably hammer that. It is
Yeah.
more likely than not that he doesn't get traded. Portland really controls this because of the fact that he has a guaranteed at least 3 more years under contract before he hits a player option in 2024. So this is going to be a while. They don't have to do anything. This is not a he's a free agent in a year and you got to move and do all these
Mhm.
things. It's not that they're not in it, but right, neither LA team has mentioned
Yeah.
that, at least somewhat noteworthy. I think we've talked ad nauseum about how it's really hard for the Lakers to get their matching salary wise and asset wise and those kind of things. Clippers, their asset poor because they don't have their own draft picks. That gets a little hard for them. Matching salary is much easier for them, but that gets a little hard. But yeah, those teams I guess were a little bit of a surprise. I guess
Mhm.
maybe Boston, but I don't expect Boston to be super aggressive on Lillard. I don't think they want to bring in another point guard who needs the ball to be really effective and
Right.
those kind of things, even if Lillard is amazing and great. And I think they know that would cost them Jaylen Brown. And I think they're going to do what they can to, at least go 1 more year with Tatum and Brown as the focal points and really try to build it that way. But yeah, those would be the teams, I guess, that kind of jump out at me initially. But the teams that KOC mentioned there all completely make sense.
From the Blazers perspective, if you're a Blazers fan, which of those teams are you most excited about getting assets from? Like, who has the most attractive assets to offer?
I would say Miami, maybe, because you could probably pick off Kendrick Nunn, Duncan Robinson if you structured it as a sign and trade
Okay.
on that side, on the Heat side. Miami, if they gave you future draft picks, just because Lillard and Butler are a little bit older, that is some disaster potential. So I think that could really work out there. So, but yeah, that gets interesting.
Okay. And maybe, Tyler Hero or somebody like that into the mix
Yeah,
for Miami.
absolutely. Yep.
They've got some guys that they can send
Yeah.
along. So that's interesting. But, the Blazers,
I mean, yeah, Kings Rockets too, because those teams I don't
sure.
understand why they do it. So I'd want all their draft picks, De'Aaron Fox, if I could get it. But I think that's kind of let's not live in fantasy land, right? That I think that seems too far off, the map for me to even really consider.
I have a feeling that because of what Lillard has meant to Portland, they're not going to send him someplace he doesn't want to go, which, look,
Yeah,
he's got 4 years under
absolutely.
contract. If they really want to, they
Yep.
can, right? They could do that.
Yep.
They could just say, hey, tough luck. You're under contract. You're going
Yep.
to Sacramento, right? They could do it. But I just don't see them playing that this way.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. They're going to do what they can to take care of him. Let's move on to his teammate, who
Yeah.
there is some actual real news on. Norman Powell, Chris Haynes of Yahoo Sports reported Norman Powell will decline his player option. Not unexpected. We kind of knew this was coming. Powell is going to be one of the better shooting guard wing players on the market. Played really out of position his entire time in Portland as they went to a 3 guard lineup, and he's much more of a traditional 2 than he is a starter there. But I think what this did for Portland was whether it's trading Damian Lillard, sliding CJ over to the point, and Powell takes on the 2, or you trade CJ and you put Powell in at the 2, then I think you're in a position where they made this trade to cover themselves with a scoring guard. In case they broke up that Dame CJ combination somewhere. So he's going to get paid handsomely. My guess is by Portland.
Yeah, I mean, like we talked about, I believe it was yesterday, Will Barton opting out doesn't mean he's leaving the Denver Nuggets. Norman Powell opting out doesn't mean he's leaving the Blazers. In fact, I would think most likely both stay with their teams. Norman Powell most likely just stays with the Blazers. This is just, he has an opportunity to get more money, and so he's going to take that. I can't fault him for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's the right decision on his part. He would have made 11.6 million on the team option. My guess is he's probably going to have a starting salary of at least 15 in this next year. He is 28, so it's not like he's super young. He has been around a little bit because he came into the league a little bit older. than some of the other guys because he spent some time at UCLA. But yeah, 15 would be my guess as starting salary. Portland would do well to structure it high to start, have it descend as you're getting into McCollum and Lillard's salaries rising. Whether it's both of them or one of them there, you'd still do okay to structure it that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that's kind of all I got on Norman Powell, and I guess we'll see if some team swoops in and steals him here at the end.
And I would be surprised if that was the outcome. Keith, you had something as well as far as a date that you wanted to talk about, something that came down today.
Yeah, so the official early entry list is out from the NBA. You'll start seeing that probably hit social media here in a little bit. The place I use to go to look at it most regularly is Real GM. They have a fantastic list on there that you can check out there once it's up and ready. It'll probably be up. My guess is probably tomorrow, if not the next day. But yeah, we're gonna have 217 early entry candidates. Only 8 international. Early entry guys. So that's a little interesting. A couple guys who were fringe type guys to be drafted in the first, maybe early second round, but didn't want to be stashed or staying overseas. And they're going to come in a year later, most likely. And then on the 209 NBA players, that's slightly higher because remember all the college seniors, they had to declare as early entry players because they all could have gone back for a 5th year of eligibility or even a 6th year in some cases of eligibility. So that was it. But so that early entry list is out there. We already kind of covered some names of guys who dropped out that were unexpected. But yeah, so now as you're building out your mock drafts and all that stuff, you've got the actual names. We've got the full list of draftable players fully together.
And the draft, 9 days away now? I mean, it's we're right there. The draft and then free agency, it's all going to heat up. I still think whether the finals ends tonight or if it goes to a game 7, as soon as the finals comes to an end, the switch is going to get flipped, and it is going to be an off season that could be a really exciting one. And I can't wait. As much as I love watching the finals, I love watching on-court basketball. As soon as it ends, we get to fully commit to the off season. And I can't wait for that too. Like I can't wait for Bucks v Suns, and I can't wait to see what this offseason is going to bring for the NBA.
Yeah, it's going to be great. If I can plug something here real quick, something I'm a part of, that I'm super excited about. The Manage tool over at Spot Track is live. So if you like playing on the trade machine, you're going to love the Manage tool because it allows you to fully manage your team. So if you pick the Lakers or the Celtics or the Knicks, or if you want to trade away Damian Lillard or whatever, you can do trades, you can do renouncements, you can do re-signings, you can do all of that stuff over at Spot Track. So all you got to do is you pick a team, and then you'll see a button right on every team that says manage this team, and it allows you to go all the way through their whole offseason, re-signing, signing players, all that stuff. It is an absolute blast to play with. Get out there, do your stuff. If you want, send me some of your finalized rosters that are there. And I'll tell you this too, it follows all the actual rules and everything. So this isn't, you're not doing a fantasy draft here where you load your team up with, what should have been Team USA with, all the, 12 best guys in the world or whatever, anything like that. It's just a really cool tool. So if you're super excited for the offseason, you can play and get into that. And then we'll go from there. And then maybe the next time I come to you, it might be still parts unknown somewhere in my travels or I may be back home in the home office in Orlando. We'll see.
Well, wish you some solid travels there, safe travels, I guess I should say.
Thank you.
And next time we see you, hopefully that you will be you'll be someplace settled, maybe back in your home office. We'll find out. But I think even more important is that the NBA is heating up by the time we talk next.
Absolutely.
All right, guys, make sure you do subscribe right here to the NBA Front Office YouTube channel. Don't forget to turn on those notifications as well. Enjoy the finals and get ready. The offseason is coming. Till next time, see ya and stay safe.